She was wearing an overly revealing evening gown, only to attract the man before her. Theodore Valentino, the marriage partner her father had chosen for her. As expected, he noticed her. His gaze even remained fixed on her, never once moving away. Lilith only felt embarrassed. Dressing like this was not what she wanted. Aren't you cold? A coat still carrying body warmth was draped over her shoulders. He tilted his head slightly, as if confirming something. You are Lilith Everett. This was not a question, but a certain statement. This outfit is not very suitable for a walk. Though it was clearly a well-meant reminder, it only made her feel even more embarrassed. This was their first meeting, just a few days earlier. She had been informed unilaterally by her father that she was to marry Duke Valentino. Lilith only felt that her father had gone mad, but that was normal too, because their whole family was mad to begin with. The Valentino family had guarded the northern border ever since the founding of the nation. 4 generations, each head of the family had formed a contract with powerful spirits. But starting more than 10 years ago, calamities began to appear in their territory. The former Duke and Duchess, along with the heir to the ducal house, died one after another. Only the youngest son, Theodore, was left to support the territory on his own, and the calamities had not disappeared, so they were in urgent need of outside help. The nobles, led by her father, deliberately isolated this young duke. Her father wanted to use marriage to swallow up the entire Valentino family. You must be very happy to marry Theodore. Her crazy second brother had come. The girl ignored him. Lilith Everett, are you ignoring me? Hazen, I have nothing to say to you. But those words ignited the man's fury. He grabbed the scissors on the table. You lowly woman. You are not even of Everett blood. Do you think marrying the Duke will change anything? If so many things had not happened, Theodore would never have been someone you could covet. He slammed the door and stormed out. The little maid approached her cautiously. Her face was full of worry. She should be new here probably, because the other servants were not very friendly to her. Perhaps before long, she too would become like them. She asked the Baroness if they could continue tomorrow. On the way back to her room, she ran into her eldest brother, the future head of the Everett family. Brother, Lord Lay. Lilith, you should call me brother too. You're becoming more and more beautiful. She really wanted to cut out this bastard's tongue. His younger sister was being harassed, yet her brother showed no reaction. I heard father is having you marry Valentino. I've found him unpleasant for a long time. If only we could use this marriage alliance to seize his weakness. Lily, I really hope you can be useful this time. She was not Everett's biological child. The Duke only had 2 sons. He still needed a daughter, who could be exchanged for benefits with other families. That was why he adopted her, with her silver hair. Don't worry too much. If Duke Valentino is unwilling to marry you, then I can marry you instead. To Lilith, this place was like hell. If she married Duke Valentino, could she escape from here? The answer was probably no. The Everetts, who would stop at nothing for power, and the Valentinos, who protected justice and morality, were as opposed as ice and fire. Even so, she still held onto a trace of hope. She hoped that one day, someone would reach out a hand to her and take her away from this hell. Following her father's demands, Lilith changed into a bright, gorgeous dress and went to attend the ball. She had heard far too many rumors about him, but she was simply curious about him. If he really was as outstanding as the rumors said, then they were even more unsuitable for each other. I really can't stand to look at this. Was it really necessary for you to dress up like this on purpose? It was her second brother again. Do you really think a face like yours can move someone as wooden as him? What? Have you fallen for my charms? Hazen looked as though his thoughts had been exposed. He instantly flew into a rage. Are you insane? Get back to your room right now. But father ordered me to go to the courtyard. If you don't want me meeting others dressed like this, then go and try to persuade father. Teasing this arrogant second brother was unexpectedly rather amusing. The courtyard was very cold. She hugged herself, trying to warm her body a little. Lilith did not think that a face like hers could captivate Theodore, although her father was very confident about it. Before long, she waited for that man. He looked as though he would only stay briefly. Just as he was about to turn and leave, he suddenly looked back at her. Lilith had not expected that Valentino, who had always rejected the marriage alliance, after meeting her, would suddenly agree to this marriage. And her brothers did not spare her just because she was getting married. That crazy brother liked his own sister, yet still intended to marry her off to someone else. It didn't matter, at most 2 years. Then he would take her back again. Her second brother, Hazen, lingered in her room. He kept telling her how rough her future husband would be. He probably wishes he could just strangle you to death. If father had not threatened him over the territory's affairs, how could he possibly have married you? Theodore is really pitiful too. To think he has to marry someone like you. Lilith still ignored him. She sank into her own thoughts. Why don't you beg me? Hazen walked in front of her. His expression was strange, as if he were expecting something. It carried shame and also conflicted struggle. Lily, what do you mean by that? The girl's indifferent attitude completely enraged him. Enough, stop always pretending to be innocent. Hurry up and beg me. Say you don't want this marriage. Say you don't want to be sacrificed for nothing. Beg me to save you. Hazen Everett, what are you doing? Let her go and get out. My amazing older brother. What do you want? I have something important to say to Lily, so you go out first. Can't you say it in front of me? Don't force me to drag you out. While I'm still speaking nicely, you'd better leave at once. Are you deaf? I said I'm not going out. What? Are you trying to do something shameful? Owen stopped wasting words. He grabbed Hazen's wrist in one motion. Frost condensed from his palm, but he let go again very quickly. Clearly, it was only a warning. Hazen did not dare to keep acting tough. He threw out a threat and told him to just wait and see. Owen sat down opposite her. Lilith Everett. Yes, brother. The girl who was cold in front of Hazen became unusually obedient when facing Owen. Although I have no expectations of you, you should still try to captivate Theodore. Make him obey. That will benefit us. Also, don't forget, even if you marry that man, you're still my Lily until death. No. Even if you die, you will forever be a member of the Everett family. You must never forget that. The girl answered like a puppet. Brother, I will remember. He touched the girl's face. Good girl. Then good night, Lily. If she still had the courage to resist when facing Hazen, then Owen was the nightmare she could never escape. Hazen always loved to bully her, but most of the time, he only talked. For example, now, she was about to get married, yet Hazen was still threatening her. If Valentino's finances had not collapsed, someone like you would never have had the chance to marry into a ducal family. Lilith's expression remained calm. I know that. Hazen felt as though he had punched cotton, so angry that he began speaking without restraint. If you marry Theodore, you will definitely die. Lilith did not care. On the contrary, she had already learned how to manipulate Hazen's emotions. As long as she showed Hazen a smile, he would immediately look flustered and panic-stricken. In the gentlest voice, she spoke the cruelest words. Hazen, even if I die, I will never ask you for help. I have had enough of you, and Owen, I truly hope that both of you die. On their wedding night, without saying a single word, this husband forcibly kissed her. Clearly, she was the one being mistreated. Yet the one with a hurt expression on his face was him. In the end, her father had still successfully sold her off. And he even hypocritically offered congratulations. Lily, you look beautiful today. She said thank you. It is all thanks to you. But in her heart, she understood perfectly well that this transaction had clearly pleased him very much. The music at the wedding, the flower petals drifting down as a symbol of blessing, and the guests watching around them. To her eyes, it was nothing more than a farce. She suddenly became a little curious. Did that person think so too? No matter what, they were husband and wife now. If she had any opinion of Theodore because of that warm coat, Lily did indeed have a favorable impression of him. But when she wanted to return the coat to him, the maid directly refused, saying the coat was already dirty and she could do whatever she wanted with it. There was nothing surprising about that. After all, to him, she was one of those hateful Everetts. She did not dislike him, nor would she resent him. Lily made up her mind that she must not fall for him. She had to keep a psychological distance from him. The racing heartbeat from when their eyes met that day was only a temporary illusion. The sound of the door opening interrupted her thoughts. Theodore had probably just bathed and walked in with his clothes slightly disheveled. Lily's heart began to race again. He noticed the girl's gaze. He gave a light laugh. Those dark blue eyes were full of mockery. Lily could only watch as he approached her step by step. The next second, he roughly pulled her to her feet. Without any warning, he suddenly kissed her. It was not a simple kiss. He actually poured all the wine he had just drunk into her mouth. His force was heavy. Lily cried that it was enough and struggled as she backed away. She was choked by the wine. Because of Hazen's words, she had not had any expectations to begin with, so she simply began to give up on herself. You can do whatever you want. Theodore's gaze changed. He pushed her down onto the bed. This is not what I want. It is what you want, isn't it? He did not even give her a chance to explain. Lily could only keep persuading herself over and over in her heart. This had been something she should have expected all along. How could he possibly be gentle with her? But when she saw Theodore's expression clearly, everything seemed to be overturned again. This was absolutely not the expression a perpetrator should have. Why was it like this? She reached out, wanting to confirm whether all of this was real, but her hand was harshly slapped away. He seemed to regret his own actions again. In the end, it was as if he had finally made up some kind of resolve. He closed his eyes and no longer looked at Lily. At this level, your father probably won't suspect anything. He picked up the scissors nearby, and step by step, he approached her again. He raised his hand and stabbed downward. He left bite marks on his wife's neck, then cut open his own palm, letting blood drip onto the bed, only to create the illusion of a wedding night. Because theirs was only a political marriage, there was no need to do something neither of them wanted. I will be used as you wish. When this marriage no longer has any meaning to maintain, we will divorce. After Theodore left, only then did Lily finally realize that she was not as indifferent as she had imagined. At that time, she still did not understand. It was as if her body had been pierced by an invisible arrow. Invisible wounds would not heal with the passage of time either. A few days later, they arrived at Valentino. The disaster this place had suffered was far more tragic than anything she had heard. This was the first time she had seen such a scene. This is all because of Everett. Her stomach churned. The little maid cried out in alarm. Miss. No sooner had she spoken than Theodore opened the door with a tense expression. In the next second, his expression turned cold again. I heard a lot of noise in the carriage, so I came to take a look. It seems the sights here have made the noble Miss Everett feel sick. We'll reach the city soon. so just bear with it a little longer. Lilith wanted to explain.
No.
But the carriage door had already been shut. The little maid's face was full of worry. Lily had not expected Charlotte to be willing to follow her. Originally, no one in Everett had been willing to leave with her. After all, choosing her meant walking only a road full of thorns in the future. Should she not have brought her here? My lady, His Grace seems very worried about you. Just now, he noticed it at once, and even came personally to check. Lily gave a bitter smile when they reached the castle. Sure enough, he still maintained the duty he ought to fulfill. Lily took hold of his hand, but because she had been sitting too long, her legs had already gone numb. Her foot slipped, and she fell straight into Theodore's arms. He caught her instinctively. Both of them showed surprised expressions. When Lily raised her head, she almost touched him. Suddenly, someone called out to them. It was Theodore's aunt, Anna Seymour. Before his mother passed away, she had asked her to take care of the young children. So now, the castle was also managed by her. His aunt personally came to welcome the two of them home. Theodore turned around, but concern still remained in his eyes. This was the place where she would live from now on. Lily began to recall. From when exactly had her life begun to lose control? Was it from the moment her mother, a maid and a vagabond, gave birth to her? Ridiculously, her mother did not even know that man's name. She should just continue living quietly like this. Do nothing, expect nothing. No matter what feelings arise, crush them out immediately with her own hands. At the return ball a few days later, she sat side by side with her husband, yet there was not the slightest exchange between them. Even this ball had only been held after looking at Everett's reaction. She wanted to leave, but her husband suddenly stopped her. It seems the food here does not suit your taste. There is no need for us to use overly intimate forms of address. I never intended to maintain this marriage until the day death came. You think the same, don't you? So there's no need to waste emotions for nothing. After all, neither of us is the other's ideal partner. She clenched her skirt tightly, trying hard to suppress her emotions. Yes, I understand. Yet he instead became unhappy. He turned his head and began gulping down wine. He really was inexplicable, but the little maid welcomed her with a smile. The pressure brought by the banquet was simply too great. It made her feel especially unwell. She suddenly froze. The girl's hands were covered in wounds. She looked around. In the huge bathroom, there were only the two of them. Charlotte, are the others here? Isolating you? She had escaped her brother's control, only to stumble into another hell. And the little maid by her side, though she was being bullied, still refused to say it aloud. To Charlotte, she herself could be scolded and humiliated, but not miss, not even hearing those ugly words. Even when Lily asked her, she only said that she was strong, and it was fine. But how could Lily, who had once gone through all of this, possibly not understand? I know what you are worried about. There are many people in this house who dislike me. You are afraid that if this becomes a bigger matter, they will hate me even more, aren't you? The little maid fell silent. After a moment, she quietly said she was sorry. Why are you apologizing? It is because of me that you have suffered such grievances. Miss, it's not like that. It is because I am an orphan that I encounter this kind of thing. Then, Charlotte, do you want to go back to Everett? Lily had thought this would be for her own good, but unexpectedly, the little maid cried. I really like staying by your side. Even if I go back, no one will welcome me. I don't have anyone anymore. Not until this moment did Lily suddenly realize that just as keeping Charlotte by her side made her feel comforted, it turned out that, to Charlotte, she was also a comfort. They were like two little wounded beasts licking each other's wounds. Since there was someone who cared about her and worried about her, then what did it matter if her heart suffered a little hurt? The next day, she ordered the butler to summon the maid responsible for assisting Charlotte. You called for us. Is there something you need? Your name is Laura, right? Why haven't you properly assisted my maid? Do you know this is called dereliction of duty? This behavior of bullying her maid behind her back was truly disgraceful. Laura opened her mouth to defend herself, saying that there was simply too much to handle. The situation in Valentino territory was not good. Everyone was very busy, and most people were doing the work of two. Saying all that, are you trying to lecture me instead? No matter what, she was still the Duchess of Valentino, and they had even omitted the most basic etiquette. If there was anything lacking in me as the mistress of this house, then my husband or elders should be the ones to tell me. Only then did the maid suddenly realize that this new mistress was not easy to deal with. Why is it so noisy here? It was her husband's aunt, Lady Simon. She did not first ask Lily, but instead looked at the butler and had him explain the situation. After hearing it, she turned to the maid. It seems everyone has been very busy lately, but even so, you should still fulfill your duties. With just a few words, she lightly brushed aside what should have been held accountable. Lily, I've already warned them, so calm down. They are usually obedient children and will not cause any more trouble. The implication could not have been clearer. In this house, I have the final say, and you have no power at all. But she was far too good at keeping up appearances, so Lily could only issue a warning for now. If they properly assist Charlotte from now on, then naturally, I won't say anything more. Simon suddenly changed the subject. I happen to have a suggestion. How about you go inspect the territory? Lily froze. So this was her way of humiliating her. She had already had enough, but she did not want to grow used to being bullied either. How about just dying like this? That way, she could even take revenge on both families and stir up conflict. But if she died, what would happen to Charlotte? Lily put her smile back on. All right, I'll go once I'm ready. Her aunt frowned. Lily walked past her. Coming to Valentino might, for her, have simply meant stepping into another hell. Theodore stood by the window, watching his wife's carriage slowly leave. Although she had already expected it, the miserable state here still far exceeded her imagination. She had deliberately changed into the plainest clothes, but that fabric was still silk. It felt almost like a mockery. Lily stood at the relief station, helping distribute food, but suddenly, a stone struck her on the head. Go die, you witch, you filthy Everett bloodline. The knights instantly rushed out to shield her. Even after the attacker was pinned to the ground, he kept cursing nonstop. It's all because of you and your demon-like father and brothers that this place has become like this. I curse you, you will definitely pay the price. Everyone hated her, even though she had done nothing except come here to distribute food, solely because her surname was Everett. Even though that man was not even her biological father. In everyone's eyes here, there was only accusation toward her, as if they were constantly reminding her that no one here would stand by your side. All of us despise you. Her husband was crying with tearful eyes, yet she did not even dare go up and comfort him. She only thought of hiding behind the tree, so he would not notice her. But Theodore still noticed her sharply. Ever since Lily personally saw the tragic state of the territory, even though she had been struck by a stone and insulted, she could not bring herself to blame those refugees, because all of this had been caused by Everett. Even if she said that she wanted to help them, in their eyes, it would probably only seem hypocritical. She could only think of another way. She would dispose of some of the jewels she had brought with her when she married. Fortunately, in order to package her up, her father had been willing to spend heavily on her. But given her current situation, direct aid would only provoke resentment instead. She remembered the item her brother had given her before he left, a magical tool that could alter one's appearance. It had originally been for her to use in investigations. She had not expected that lunatic to help her by accident. Then she would use it to change her appearance and distribute food. That had originally been her plan. But just after dealing with the jewelry, Theodore came to her door. I heard you got rid of your jewels? On the surface, Lily remained calm, but inside she was already trembling with anger. She had clearly paid the merchant hush money. I just don't like those jewels anymore, so I wanted to exchange them for something else. You don't need to do that. No matter how bad the situation in the territory is, Valentino is still, after all, a ducal family of the north. It can still afford jewels for your daily expenses. Lily did not want to argue with him, so she only said that she would pay attention next time. She suddenly noticed that Theodore's complexion looked especially abnormal. She had heard that the spirit contracted to him was unstable. Could it be that it still had not gotten better? He suddenly stood up. I've said everything I needed to say, so I'll go first. Lily had originally thought that the matter would end there, but unexpectedly, he spoke again. After seeing the territory, you actually wanted to use jewels to comfort your frightened little heart, as expected of Everett's daughter. From now on, I won't let you see those terrible scenes again. Don't worry. Lily looked at his retreating figure. Couldn't you at least ask whether I was afraid? I nearly had my throat seized by an enraged man. Maybe at that moment, I really could have been strangled to death. You would probably be happy instead. Then it would mean getting rid of someone as annoying as me, because too much had happened. Lily suffered from insomnia. She got up and went out for a walk, wanting to calm herself a little. Faint voices drifted over. If only I could become a little stronger. Just now. Did he mention his brother too? Lily was just about to leave when Theodore keenly noticed her. His eyes were red and swollen, and there were still tears in them. What are you doing here? I just came out for a walk. Not just for a walk. You also happened to peek at me crying, right? Lily denied it agitatedly. I wasn't peeking, but Theodore pulled her straight into his arms. Investigating Valentino on your own is not a wise choice, because no matter how much you investigate, you won't find anything you want. Lily, I'm not a fool. So coming out alone at this hour, was it really just for a walk, without even bringing a maid? If it were you, would you believe such words? Lily no longer wanted to explain.
Think whatever you want.
Theodore grabbed hold of her. Come with me. In the corridor, there were only the footsteps of the two of them. Wait a moment. Lily was panting. He was walking far too fast. Go in. From now on, don't wander around alone in the pitch-black night anymore. If they had really been a normal married couple, Lily might have felt that his tone meant he was worried about her. Unfortunately, they were not. Actually, just now she had wanted to talk with him a little more, but if she said what was on her mind, he would probably only think she was crazy. This man's actions were always the complete opposite of what he said. On the first day, Theodore called for the jeweler. He even personally put the necklace on her because she had seen her husband crying. She had been so bothered by it that she had not been able to sleep all night. Since she had already told Theodore that she was going to buy new jewels, then she had to keep up the appearance at least. She had Charlotte call the jeweler over. As for the fact that he had taken hush money and still failed to keep silent, she intended to settle that account as well. Now it seems you really have no taste at all. She casually tossed down the jewelry, looking at this utterly untrustworthy fellow with eyes full of contempt. Then she began selecting the pieces one by one, until the jeweler brought out the last item. It was an apple green peridot necklace. One glance was enough to know that it suited her very well, but Lily deliberately said the opposite. This one isn't very good either. A voice suddenly came from behind her. Then I'll buy this necklace. Theodore leaned against the doorway, and it was impossible to tell how long he had been watching. The jeweler looked excited, as though he had finally been saved. Theodore bought the necklace. then looked at Lily. So, in Miss Everett's eyes, this necklace isn't very good either? Even if you're not satisfied, wear it anyway, because this is a gift from lowly me to you. I wouldn't want others to mistakenly think that the great Everett family's daughter had been neglected. That's right, after all, he had always thought I was Everett's biological daughter. If he knew that I did not even count as an illegitimate daughter, what kind of reaction would he have? And on top of that, I am not even of noble birth. He would probably only look down on me even more. Theodore was still waiting. Put the necklace on her. Lift your hair a little. Lily gently brushed her hair aside. She could clearly feel that Theodore was very close to her. She nervously clenched her hair in her hand. The peridot matched her eye color very well. Lily touched the necklace and thanked him softly. Theodore stood there blankly. The next second, his hand dropped. He turned and quickly left, as if he were fleeing. Not long after, Lady Seymour came to see her. She told her that 4 days later was the death anniversary of Theodore's brother. So that was the reason he cried. Theodore's brother, Camille, had died in battle during the attempt to stop the rift. That year, he was only 15. Their parents had also died after being caught up in the rift. I truly respected my elder sister and brother-in-law. They should have been admired by tens of thousands. How could such good people die so young? I still cannot accept any of this. Even Lily thought so. The rift in the territory had been caused by her father. Since her father had found a method, let alone them. Although she had never heard that her father had a way to control rifts, all of this was simply too much of a coincidence. Lady Seymour continued, Camille was a kind child. Everyone loved him, and he also adored Theodore very much. So when such an elder brother died, Theodore was like a madman. And because of that, every year as Camille's death anniversary approached, he would become especially miserable. Lily took off the necklace. As long as she saw it, she would think of Theodore. Actually, that day, she had wanted to comfort him, and only now did she understand how lacking in self-awareness she had been. This was a warning to her. Seymour wanted to tell her to recognize her own place. Even if she saw Theodore in pain, she should not approach him, much less dream of comforting him. When she saw Owen and Hazen upset, she could ignore it. She was the same with other people. She was the same with other people. And Charlotte was the exception, because Charlotte was important to her. But then why was Theodore? Enough, stop thinking about it. Anyway, her ending would only be either being murdered or getting divorced. She could not afford to have any feelings. Then she might as well lock them up tightly. In Lily's heart, there was a box. She would place the things she feared, one by one, into that box. Those feelings did not belong to her, nor should they belong to her, because every single time she developed feelings, she would become utterly miserable. Lily stood in the rain, listening to every mourner lament Camille's untimely death and point the blame at Everett. An umbrella was raised over her head. You should go get out of the rain. Why are you still standing here like a fool? Theodore sent her back to the castle. A pink figure appeared, a sweet voice tinged with joy. Theodore, long time no see. Her husband's gentle treatment felt like a dream to her. Even though she knew it was an abyss, she still could not help but fall into it. The girl before her was bright and warm. If he had not married her, then perhaps Theodore would have been with her. Adeline had once been Theodore's childhood sweetheart. The two families had even discussed marriage, but because something happened to Theodore's family, Adeline's relatives opposed the marriage, and so it was called off. Perhaps after Theodore divorced her, he might end up with her after all. For some reason, that thought made her uncomfortable. Are you feeling unwell somewhere? Lily looked at the two of them. I really envy Adeline. The thought in her mind made Lily freeze. Why would she think such a thing? Your complexion seems even worse. Lily said she was fine and told them to talk. Then she turned and left. She had insomnia again. If she thought about it carefully, had she taken the place that should have belonged to Adeline? You know it very well yourself, don't you? If it were Adeline, she could clearly comfort Theodore, but you cannot. She wanted the little voice in her head to shut up. Charlotte appeared just in time. She was going to light some sleep-inducing incense for her. Lily had never told her that she suffered from insomnia. She had not expected that Charlotte had noticed even something like this. The girl smiled and said, Madam, please sleep peacefully. But how could she possibly fall asleep? Lily took out sleeping pills from the drawer. Since a long time ago, she had needed to rely on them in order to fall asleep. And when she opened her eyes again, she had once more entered her dream. If she dreamed of her brothers or Lennon, she would usually destroy them. After all, this was her dream. But this time she miscalculated. The one who appeared was Theodore, wearing a tender smile all over his face. He called her name intimately, and it made Lily feel terrified. She forcefully slapped Theodore's hand away. As she said, Don't come closer, she stepped back. Theodore looked bewildered. Lily, what's wrong? Why did she have to dream of him? Of all people, she had to wake up quickly. Lily suddenly opened her eyes. The surroundings were silent. She was in great pain. It hurt so much that her tears would not stop falling. It was only a dream. It had no meaning at all. Just then, someone burst into the bedroom. It was Theodore. He seemed drunk. Lily softly reminded him, You have the wrong room, but he walked straight toward her. When he was just one step away, he collapsed. She had no choice but to help him sit down first. She was about to call the servants over to help, but Theodore suddenly spoke. I must be crazy. Why did I come here? She should have gone out, not return to Theodore's side again. But strangely, every time she saw him, She wanted to cry because her heart hurt so much and beat so fast. She even wished it would stop. From the very first moment she saw him, Lily had felt a nearly crushing fear because she knew that she was destined to be hurt by these feelings and then become utterly miserable. After all, she was in a position where she could neither expect anything from him nor freely give him anything, so she should have killed off these feelings. She had no confidence in bearing that weight, especially since the other party was Valentino. This was a feeling that could not be repaid, nor could she expect it to be. But even so, she still hoped time could stop forever at this moment. After her husband forcefully kissed her once again, for the first time, Lily struck him. And this was the beginning of her falling in love. When sunlight spilled into the room, Theodore woke up. He suddenly came to his senses and pushed Lily away. His hangover made his head ache terribly. What am I doing? He really had gone mad. It was my mistake. This will not happen again. But unexpectedly, the girl suddenly grabbed him, her voice trembling. Don't go. As if in despair, desperately clutching at the last straw. She wanted to say that she was not Everett, that she had not the slightest blood relation to those monsters. But if she said that, then her only value as a marriage partner would also disappear. She could only say that she did not mind Theodore coming to her, and that it did not matter how many times this happened. There was sarcasm in Theodore's tone. It doesn't matter how many times? So this is your way of seducing people. Unfortunately, it doesn't work on me. Lily looked shocked. What was he talking about? Don't pretend you know nothing. Wasn't it your father and brothers who sent you to seduce me? That day when you appeared in the courtyard. It was also so that I would see you. A wave of humiliation swept over her, and she explained that day had not been of her own will. But how could Theodore listen? Are you trying to explain? But from the very beginning, wasn't that your purpose? Lily began to break down. I didn't. The girl's tears made him begin to waver. But soon, he hardened his heart again. Even though I knew you were acting, I was almost deceived by you. Tell me, what does it feel like to seduce a man you don't even like? No, I never thought that way. But the man suddenly grabbed her. Your words are completely unconvincing. I will grant your wish, Miss Everett. He forcefully kissed Lily once again, just like on their wedding night. Lily struggled to push him away, but no matter what, she could not push him off until he finally let her go. What does it feel like to kiss a man you do not even like? Or do you think this is nothing at all? Then can you also accept going a step further? Warming my bed every night as if nothing were wrong. Lily finally could not endure it any longer and fiercely slapped Theodore across the face. You know nothing at all. Of course. How could the noble Miss Everett possibly be willing to be intimate with me? Please forgive my overestimation of myself. Sometimes Lily would think how wonderful it would be if she were simply a monster like her father. A monster who could not love anyone would naturally not feel pain either. But why was she not one? From that time on, Theodore's attitude toward her became colder and harsher than before. But Lily still held onto a sliver of hope. She stopped Theodore and said that she was different from her father and brother, that she had been forced by her father to marry and did not want to harm Valentino, but instead wanted to help them. But Theodore did not believe her at all. He only thought it was another one of her lies. After that, in order to stop the frequent rifts appearing within the territory, Theodore kept fighting on the front lines, sometimes for days, sometimes for months. They became even harder to meet, and the words "give up" slowly took root in Lily's heart. She began to be ostracized, and even the servants started tormenting her. Madame Seymour chose to turn a blind eye. Of course, such things could not truly hurt her because no matter when, the only one who could really hurt her was Theodore. Theodore refused to accompany her to the ball in the capital. He did not believe that she wanted to grow medicinal herbs to help the residents of the territory. He ignored all of her pleas for help. She gradually lost her vitality as well, and finally understood that no matter the situation, Theodore would never protect her. Her brother would come to see her from time to time, reminding her that she belonged to him, and what surprised her was that many men wanted to buy her. It was as if they were all waiting for her to divorce Duke Valentino. Her brother weighed their status and wealth, and unexpectedly, there were so many people who thought it did not matter even if all they could get was her shell. Or perhaps all they ever wanted was her shell, because only an empty doll would be quieter and more beautiful. Theodore had married her to protect his family and territory, and this marriage had never been what either of them wanted. Her greatest misfortune was falling in love with a man who hated her and her family, and still holding on to meaningless hope for him, just when she had given up all hope and let herself drift with the current one day. That husband who hated her suddenly lost his memory. To be exact, he forgot only her. While closing a rift on the battlefield, Theodore suffered a serious head injury. By the time Lily arrived, he had already mostly recovered. Yes, her husband had always been physically strong. Lily did not want to see him, so she prepared to leave, but the doctor persuaded her to stay. At least go and see my lord. If I do not see him, it will actually be better for his recovery. What do you mean by that? A familiar yet unfamiliar voice came. Theodore lifted the bed curtains, and the moment he saw Lily, his whole body froze. It was an expression he had never shown before. Lily called out in surprise, "Husband." Realizing her slip of the tongue, she immediately corrected herself, "Your Grace." But Theodore still kept looking at her, without saying a single word. I should leave before he speaks, she thought, and got up to say goodbye. Sorry for disturbing your rest. Seeing that she was about to leave, Theodore finally spoke. "Who are you? What had he just said? Could it be that she had gone mad? Had she already started hallucinating? I am your wife." But the words stuck in her throat, and she could not say them. The doctor hurriedly smoothed things over. "My lord, do you not remember? This is your wife." "Wife? You mean I'm married? You were married over a year ago. You clearly remember us." Theodore lowered his head and looked at his hands. He held his head in panic. "I don't remember." The doctor felt that things were very bad. Theodore remembered all the important things, except for his wife alone. The doctor hoped Lily could talk to him more, to see whether it might help him remember. So, he left them alone together. Lily no longer wanted to have anything to do with him. What if he had forgotten her, because he loathed her? Theodore suddenly made a request to her. "Can you come a little closer to me?" Lily slowly moved closer to him. Theodore took her hand, and carefully asked, "May I know your name?" "Lily, what a beautiful name. Lily Everett. That was my name before marriage." Theodore's expression changed, and his eyes widened suddenly. Lily said helplessly, "Do you really remember nothing? Not even a little? Then go learn about me from other people. That way you will know how to treat me." Lily pulled her hand free and turned to leave. "Wait." Theodore grabbed her urgently, just as she had begged him countless times before. "Don't go. Don't go, okay? Did I do something wrong to you? And how did we get married? I hope you can tell me these things yourself. Is that request so difficult?" What surged in Lily's heart was all resentment toward him. "No, let someone else tell you. I have my pride too, so I don't want to tell you myself. Now, please let go of me." Theodore slowly let go. Lily turned and ran out. His hand remained suspended for a long time. Theodore looked at his palm and softly repeated Lily's name. From that day on, no matter how Theodore pleaded, Lily refused to see him. He learned from the servants that their marriage had only been a transaction. He had married Lily for Valentino. He vaguely remembered that about 2 years ago, he had met someone very important to him, but he could not recall that memory no matter what. Why had only the memories related to her disappeared? His wife was gone. After being rejected for several days in a row, Theodore barged into Lily's bedroom. Only then did he learn that she often went out alone. Even as a duchess, she did not even bring guards with her. And besides himself, it seemed that everyone knew about this. Clearly, the little maid knew something, but she kept her mouth shut the whole time. No matter how much he asked, she would only say that the lady often went for walks by the river. So Theodore began investigating personally. The man noticed the jewelry box nearby. He opened the box, and inside lay a peridot necklace in silence. A blurry figure surfaced before his eyes. A sharp pain suddenly stabbed through his chest. There was also a sketchbook on the table. He picked it up and flipped through it, and on it was painted a boundless field. It was a very beautiful painting. The little maid hurriedly explained that it was painted by the lady, so she could paint as well. Theodore's smile made Charlotte freeze for a moment, but her expression quickly turned sorrowful again. Although Theodore was reckless and overbearing, he had always been very kind to his own people. Only Lily was excluded. It was as if he were obsessed with some compulsion that made it impossible for him to do otherwise. The more he was like this, the more pitiful Lily seemed. Theodore picked up a bottle. It was the sleeping pills Lily often took. He stared blankly at the medicine bottle in his hand, then gently shook it a few times before turning to Charlotte and asked in a deep voice, "What medicine is this?" From her initial panic, Charlotte finally let out a soft sigh. She decided to tell Theodore some things. At this moment, Lily was distributing food in the village. She had disguised herself with a magical item. The people here all knew her, and they were all grateful to her. She truly was a kind young lady. She had even come to deliver blankets in the winter. If not for her, who knew how many people would not have survived that winter? Theodore's spirit power had begun to stabilize. Cracks were almost no longer appearing in the territory, and the monsters no longer launched sneak attacks. The present Valentino no longer needed Everett. For Lily, this was a good thing. Before long, Theodore would probably bring up divorce. This was also something she had always been hoping for. A hurried voice came over. She suddenly turned around to look, and the person who had come was actually her younger brother, Hazen. Although he had also brought subordinates to patrol before, he had never been as tyrannical and oppressive to the common people as he was now. Hazen roared angrily, "How dare you insult the Everett family right in front of me?" The people here all hated Everett, and when they mentioned them in daily life, it was mostly with curses and ridicule. With Hazen's personality, he would never tolerate such humiliation. He drew his sword. "Choose for yourselves. Do you want to be beheaded or have your tongues cut out?" Only then did everyone realize that the person opposite them had silver hair and purple eyes. They shouted in terror, "He is a young master of the Everett family. What a bunch of stupid insects. Only now have you realized who I am? Speak. How do you want to die?" Seeing that he was about to begin a massacre, Lily could only walk over, and Hazen noticed her as well. "Who are you?" "I am a maid of the Duke Valentino's household. I am very sorry that someone as lowly as me has stood in your way. I hope I can apologize to you in their place. These people have not received much education, and over the past year they have also suffered from monsters and famine, so they are somewhat out of their minds. They only spoke a few foolish words out of sorrow. I beg you, with your generous heart, to pity them and forgive them." Hazen listened quietly until she finished speaking. The next second he smiled. "For a mere maid, you are quite bold, and you even understand etiquette of such a high standard." Lily responded softly, Thank you for your praise. Hazen suddenly burst out laughing. Then, he abruptly grabbed her. He yanked her in front of him. What are you doing? Is this some new trick of yours? His wife had been abducted. When Theodore arrived, he happened to see the scene. After Hazen saw through her disguise, she was taken into a secluded alley. Hazen spoke with disgust. What is with this ugly shell? Change back to your original face for me. After a flash of light, she returned to her original appearance. You are clearly the Duchess. So why are you disguised as a maid and running around everywhere? I just have some matters to deal with. Seeing that he could get nothing out of her, Hazen grabbed her and began tying her up. Lily said in shock, what are you doing? Do you really want to marry a bastard like Lennon Chester? What does that have to do with you? How could it have nothing to do with me? As he spoke, Hazen was about to haul her onto the horse. The sound of rapid hoofbeats came closer and closer. Lily never could have imagined that the person who came would actually be Theodore. When he saw his wife's hands tied up, a burst of anger instantly flared in his heart. Lily simply watched as Theodore swung down from his horse and stood in front of her. He demanded of Hazen, what are you doing? You had better tell me the truth. The other man mocked, Duke Valentino. Since when did you start caring about this girl? Theodore froze. You actually called her girl? Hazen pointed to his own head. Could it be that you've gone crazy? Or your brain is broken? Isn't she the Everett you hate the most? What? Is the way you're cherishing her so much now also just an act? Lily knew that Theodore could not answer because his amnesia was a secret. Once it became known to the outside world, it would become his weakness. She stepped forward. Hazen, even if you were joking, don't do this again in the future. Lily wanted to suppress the matter. She turned to Theodore. He was only joking with me. You don't need to mind this sort of thing. But how could Theodore possibly believe that? Why would you say that? He was clearly trying to take you away. How could anyone in this world joke about something like this? Theodore's expression made her feel utterly unfamiliar. Lily suddenly wanted to know, if it had been him before he lost his memory, would he also have been this angry? No. Probably even if she were taken away right in front of him, he would not have reacted at all. There was no other way. She could only use another method. She took a deep breath, closed her eyes, and began controlling her heartbeat and breathing. The next instant, she fainted just like that. It was as if she had fallen into a bottomless sea, and the sensation of suffocation struck instantly. By the time she jolted awake, she had already returned to the ducal residence. Although this would make her body feel awful, at least she could shake off Hazen. She looked in the direction the voice had come from, and Theodore was standing right beside her. This was simply awful. She instinctively resisted Theodore's approach, although the other party seemed to be concerned about her. How is your body now? I'm fine. The expression on Theodore's face was extremely complicated. You suddenly stopped breathing just now and nearly scared me to death. I instructed the attending physician to continue observing your condition. I understand. Has Hazen already gone back? He has already returned to his residence in Salisbury. Lily was startled. Hazen had actually arranged a private residence. He had always taken pride in being an Everett and had never even kept private property. Yet someone like him had actually begun to keep something in reserve. Could it be that a rift had appeared between him and the family? It was not until Theodore called out to her that she came back to her senses and realized she had forgotten about him. Anyway, you don't need to mind the matter between me and Hazen. He has always been that kind of person, rude, and without any sense of limits even in jokes. Theodore looked at her fixedly. In the end, he let out a soft sigh. I understand. You should rest more. However, if you want me to stay by your side— No. Lily interrupted him. There's no need. The girl's cold and disgusted tone stabbed Theodore's heart. Lily also felt uncomfortable with her own reaction. What I mean is, I want to rest alone. If someone is by my side, I will feel uncomfortable. It seems I was overthinking. Theodore got up to say goodbye. At the moment before closing the door, he paused. He softly asked Lily, could you call my name directly next time? The one person he had no intention of letting go of in this lifetime. Yet now he learned from someone else that she might remarry. When Lily fainted, Hazen acted as if he were already used to it. This crazy girl is at it again. Your Grace, you'd better be careful. She did it on purpose. This is what she is best at, manipulating others like this. But it doesn't matter to you anyway. You'll be divorced soon enough. What? Why do you look so surprised? Do you intend to spend your whole life with an Everett woman? After she divorces you, she will marry Leicester. That girl's life really is rough. Wasn't marrying you the first time bad enough? And now she actually has to marry that bastard too. Do you know? He has been boasting everywhere that you and Lily probably did not even properly spend your wedding night together. Theodore looked at the medicine bottle on the table. What exactly had he done before losing his memory? For everything to have come to this point today, he called Galvin over, wanting to know about his past with Lily. I heard you questioned the steward and the servants all over the place. I was wondering when exactly you would finally come to me. To be honest, your previous attitude toward her was actually quite reasonable. I mean, from Valentino's standpoint. But if you only look at Lily Everett's life as a person, then it was far too unreasonable. Even so, I don't think you were all that bad. After all, she is an Everett. Theodore corrected him. She is Lily Valentino. Galvin rolled his eyes. He had originally wanted to wait until Theodore recovered his memory himself, but since he insisted on knowing the past, he could only begin telling it. The first time you saw her was in Duke Everett City 2 years ago. After you came back, you mentioned her to me. At the time I thought, wow, So the invincible Theodore can fall in love at first sight too. You kept talking about her, and you even remembered clearly some little details you normally would never notice. You said she trimmed her nails too short, and it hurt just looking at them. There is a mole between her thumb and index finger. Hey, are you a pervert? Who even notices details like that? I was going crazy after hearing it. From the very beginning, Theodore was deeply attracted to Lily. Moreover, he had frankly admitted his feelings. He had even thought about completely taking her away from Everett's side. But in fact, after marriage, he had always treated her cruelly. Something must have happened in between. Someone must have meddled behind the scenes, or perhaps some misunderstanding had quietly taken root. Before he knew it, he had already arrived at Lily's door. For a long time, Lily Everett had silently endured the servants' torment. The servants would throw dead birds or dead mice by her window and outside her door. After Galvin investigated, he discovered that they had started doing this at least 6 months earlier. He had once stepped in to reprimand the servants and make them stop. But later, this sort of thing seemed to begin again. Even so, Lily had never once mentioned these things. Faced with this prolonged torment, she had remained silent the whole time. For a year and a half, perhaps even longer, she had been enduring these things all along. If during this period, one person kept hurting another, could such wounds really still heal completely? Or could they heal more easily than imagined? No. How could it possibly be easy? The darkness in her heart might be even deeper than he had imagined. The only thing Theodore could be certain of was that what Lily had endured was likely far more than just this. He wanted to ask his pre-amnesia self why he had treated her so cruelly, when clearly from the very first time he saw her, he had already been attracted to her. She smashed the teacup and demanded of her husband. When a relationship has already shattered to this extent, how can it still be repaired? Theodore did not close his eyes all night, and at daybreak, he came to see Lily. Could it be that all this time, under the identity of a maid, you were helping the residents in the territory? If they had merely been an ordinary married couple, then she would definitely have happily told her husband, "That's right, I have been helping them all along." Then Theodore would have praised her for doing well, and would also have thanked her for it. But now, even if Theodore were moved by this, she would not feel the slightest ripple, because she would only keep thinking about how Theodore, before losing his memory, would react. Rather than this person in front of her, who had forgotten everything. That was just my hobby. When I feel bored, I just give them some of the things they need. That's all. Theodore did not continue questioning, because he had something more important. I already took this bottle of medicine to be checked. The pharmacist said that this is a very strong sleeping pill, and it contains toxic herbs that will damage the body. Do you really take this kind of medicine every day? Lily looked weary. What was coming had come after all. Because I can't sleep, so I take it. Do you take it every day? Yes, every day. The moment Lily answered, flames suddenly burst to life in Theodore's hand. Blue fire swept through the entire room, and the medicine bottle turned to ashes in his palm. You must never take it again. I only managed to fall asleep yesterday after taking 2 pills too, so I may already have developed a resistance. The medicine hasn't been working very well lately. Where are those medicines kept? What are you going to do? Theodore began searching everywhere. Of course, I'm going to burn them all. He burned every bit of medicine he could find. Bring out the rest too. There's no more. Why are you doing this? Do you really not know? Those are poison. Taking them for a long time will shorten your lifespan. That is also one of the effects of the medicine. Lily's words made a suspicion arise in Theodore's heart. Could it be that she did it on purpose? He suddenly felt afraid, but the next second Lily denied it. Don't misunderstand. I only mean that none of this matters to me. Lily did not answer, so Theodore spoke again. I already know that before I lost my memory, I treated you cruelly. Although I can't pretend those things never happened, I want to improve our relationship from now on. I will do everything I can. But Lily suddenly laughed. Improve our relationship? Your Grace, in your opinion, if we really are to improve our relationship, what should we do? She smashed the teacup to pieces. When it is already broken to this extent, how can it possibly be repaired? He had not expected Lily to be so resolute. After a moment, he finally reacted. You're bleeding. The wound is deep. It must be treated immediately. He grabbed Lily, wanting to take her to a physician. Theodore's touch ultimately caused Lily's mind to completely collapse. The doctor stood by the bed and instructed, Madam must rest quietly. She was like a lifeless doll, and Charlotte was so worried, she was nearly going mad. Theodore had only just approached, and she immediately shrank back. Please, I'm really afraid of you. Please don't come near me anymore. The young maid pulled Lily tightly into her arms. I hope you will leave this room. I will take good care of Madam. The shock in Theodore's eyes slowly turned into disappointment. In the end, he turned around and left quietly. Lily's feelings and expectations toward Theodore had long since been worn away by the day-after-day torment. All that remained was disgust and pain. Rumor had it that Duke Valentino doted on his wife beyond measure. Clearly, they were 2 people rumored to be on the verge of divorce. Yet the Duke was making a great show of gathering treasures, only wanting to please his wife. But in reality, Lily did not even want to see his face. The moment she opened her eyes in the early morning, She saw the little maid asleep against a chair. Lily gently woke her. "You look very tired. Madam, are you alright now?" Lily felt a little heartache. Could it be that she kept watch over me the entire night? Because not only were you suddenly injured, but you also said you were very afraid. So I was truly worried. It's alright now. I was just a little frightened yesterday. What about your hand, then? I accidentally broke a cup. The innocent little maid believed it. She pushed Lily outward. No, you need to nourish your body. You must eat breakfast properly. You can't just eat a few pieces of fruit and call it a meal. Being cared for like this by Charlotte, Lily was, at least in this moment, happy. The little maid stood to the side, hesitating as she paced back and forth. At last she still spoke. "Madam, that sleeping medicine. It's all right. Since things have already come to this, I'll quit it." Charlotte's face immediately lit up with delight. "Really? Actually, I also think it's better if you don't take it. Didn't they say it's poisonous? It's bad for your health." At that moment, someone knocked on the door. It was the physician sent by Theodore, who would be specially responsible for looking after her health from now on. She was not only skilled in gynecology, but also very experienced in mental health. "Madam, do you know that the medicine you usually take has the side effect of making it impossible to become pregnant?" "Of course I know. Then have you ever thought of quitting it?" After examining her, she discovered that Lily's physical condition had already deteriorated to an extreme degree because she had taken poison for many years and also ate irregularly. Her blood and organs had already become abnormal, like an old person whose life was as fragile as a candle flickering in the wind. However, Lily did not care about any of this. Since Charlotte was so worried, she was willing to try cooperating with the treatment. Thinking this, she looked at the girl. "Let's go to the library." Charlotte had a secret. She was literate. Among maids, this was extremely rare because she had grown up in a monastery since childhood and had learned under the instruction of the monks. But being an orphan also meant that she was excluded wherever she went. So Lily often brought her to the library so that she could read to her heart's content. A faint blush rose on the girl's face. This was one of the few pleasant times they shared. They became each other's only support in the ducal residence. Because of Theodore's changes after losing his memory, news that the Duke and Duchess had reconciled quickly spread through high society. The two people who had originally been thought to be on the verge of divorce, yet the Duke suddenly seemed to have come to his senses, personally spending a fortune at the auction to buy a gemstone with a history of 300 years. It was said that it was a necklace once worn at a wedding by the last princess of the kingdom of Lakia. Adeline listened to the discussions around her, feeling extremely upset, and was caught off guard by the question from the girl, who suddenly appeared. "Have you heard about Duke and Duchess Valentino? Aren't you the Duke's childhood sweetheart? You should know something, shouldn't you? Even if Theodore and I are very close childhood friends, how would I know about matters between husband and wife?" The crown prince appeared at the banquet with the crown princess and announced that he would hold a spring hunting event. Immediately afterward, he released another piece of shocking news that stunned the entire hall. He would invite Duke and Duchess Valentino to attend the hunting event together. Whenever her husband pleaded with her in a low voice, looking at Theodore's hurt and sorrowful expression, Lily would feel a sense of satisfaction rise in her heart. She had originally thought that after smashing the teacup, he would remain quiet from then on. Unexpectedly, he had merely been enduring it all along. Not long ago, Theodore had started addressing her as Madam, and it was obvious that he was hoping she would call him by an affectionate nickname. He kept hovering around Lily, writing her letters, sending her flowers, and even delivering piles of gifts. It was as if he were testing her limits little by little. Starting yesterday, he suddenly became even more aggressive, asking Lily to accompany him to the hunting event held by the crown prince. Lily only agreed because she considered the outward image of the ducal house, but he seemed to have misunderstood, thinking that she had already opened her heart to him. Wasn't it supposed to be only temporary amnesia? Why hasn't he recovered yet? She had already run out of patience. If someone asked her, "Your husband has become gentle. Isn't that a good thing?" she would probably kick them directly. How could that possibly be a good thing? Clearly, he remembered nothing. The him after losing his memory and the him Lily had known were fundamentally two different people. Because he forgot the past, he wanted to wipe everything clean with one stroke, which was simply too ridiculous. No one can escape the past. To her, the gentle Theodore, after losing his memory, was nothing more than a mirage, like a sandcastle that could be easily washed away by the waves at any moment. I heard that the prize for the winner of this hunting event is the Arendelle bracelet that was made by Roxany, the great mage famous for doting on his daughter, one of the 7 great magical artifacts. They actually even brought out the keepsake left behind by her biological father. The queen is truly generous. That's what I think too. Maybe she wants to use this to show how much she loves the crown prince. I will definitely win this hunting event and give that bracelet to Madam. No matter what he said, Theodore always liked to call her Madam. It was practically like he had a split personality. Thinking about it carefully, he was not originally a cold and heartless person. He was only indifferent to her alone. She had once desperately tried in order to receive even a little of his tenderness, but now she no longer needed it. Only now was he beginning to treat her well, but she had not endured all the way until now for the sake of such an illusory dream. Theodore still smiled. By the way, this hunting event requires riding horses. How about practicing with me tonight? The teacup fell to the ground with another sharp crack. I agreed to attend the hunting event only out of consideration for the ducal family's public image. Don't think that our relationship has improved. You still make me feel very uncomfortable. That's right. She wanted to see Theodore's hurt expression. The emotions surging in her heart were becoming clearer little by little. She had originally thought that even hatred was already gone. She had only been quietly waiting for death amid despondency and emptiness. But now, that emotion was stirring within her again. She resented him for never giving her a chance to speak and pour out her heart. Resented that he had forgotten those things while she still remembered them clearly. I don't want to hold any expectations for you anymore. How could I possibly still believe you? You not only ignored me when I asked you for help, but also stood by coldly when Lennon Chester harassed me. I already told you long ago that shattered relationship between us has no way of being repaired at all. Faced with me, who was already broken long ago, what could you possibly still do? Get out. Theodore pleaded in a low voice, calling her name. I told you to get out. If you insist on staying here, then I'll leave. Theodore abruptly stood up and chased after Lily as she ran out the door. Painful memories came surging back at that moment. Theodore, no, Your Grace, please help me. You only need to stay with me until this banquet ends. Please. What trick are you trying to pull this time? Lily could never forget that cold look in his eyes, nor could she forget the way he coldly shook her off and turned to leave. Least of all could she forget the sight of his back as he left the banquet alone ahead of her, leaving her behind among Lennon Chester and that pack of hyenas. That day, she was surrounded by a pack of beasts who fantasized about marrying her again, enduring their gazes as though they were tearing into prey. So I have the right to resent him, don't I? Although I am a member of the Everett family, and there truly were misunderstandings between us, the person who hurt me was always him. If that is the case, then can I also hurt him cruelly? She forcefully pushed her husband away, no matter how he apologized. Lily's anger did not lessen in the slightest. You, who don't remember me and don't remember what happened between us, how could you possibly gain my acceptance? I truly don't understand. You only lost your memory, so why have you changed so much? Didn't you hate me? How could feelings like that simply disappear? Lily, there must be some misunderstanding between us. I will find that misunderstanding and correct it. Lily took a step back. There is no misunderstanding between us. You are simply the only one misunderstanding me. Don't you think saying those things while suffering from amnesia is utterly ridiculous? Perhaps amnesia is actually an opportunity. On the day I lost my memory because of a head injury, when I first saw you, the very first feeling that rose in my heart was clearly attachment. Perhaps that is what I truly felt. Perhaps some misunderstanding made me suppress that attachment. Don't joke around. Attachment? I have never felt that kind of emotion from you. You have always judged me carelessly, and you have never seriously listened to my side of things. In everyone's eyes, she was always nothing more than the Everett family's possession. Her future had long been arranged to divorce Theodore and then fall into Lennon Chester's hands. If that moment really came, perhaps she would completely lose her will to live and choose to end her own life with her own hands. But Charlotte hoped she would choose another path. Why not run away, my lady? Go somewhere no one knows you. We can take a ship to the eastern continent and leave this place together, living in hiding under assumed names. I will stay by your side forever. Theodore's spirit power had already grown stronger, and Valentino had also entered a period of revival. Was she really going to let go of all this and disappear from here just like that? What if you recover your memories before you uncover the misunderstanding? That would be even better, because then I would immediately know what the misunderstanding really is. But what if you forget everything that happened during your amnesia? Theodore had just been about to deny it, but he was interrupted directly. What if, in the end, all that remains between us is still misunderstanding? These words are meaningless. I am already tired of it all. I can clearly see my future, yet I no longer have the strength to resist. Theodore knelt in front of Lily. I will do my best so that one day in the future, you will be able to trust me completely. But to Lily, those words were far too hollow. Trust had long since lost its meaning. A few days later, those servants who had spread rumors about her and treated her badly were all punished, and of course, all of it was Theodore's doing. Lily had originally been considering dealing with them herself. Charlotte was indignant. They shared the same thoughts, and it was just a pity they could not take revenge personally. If she were not a servant, she might be better suited to being a mercenary or a warrior. By the way, about the information you asked me to look into before, young Master Hazen's private residence caught fire, and young Master Owen also took in a new magician. It is said that the time that magician came under Owen's command happened to coincide with the time Duke Valentino suffered his head injury. It was roughly 1 week before His Grace the Duke set out on campaign. Just as she had guessed, Theodore's amnesia had been caused deliberately. My lady, you couldn't be suspecting that His Grace the Duke's amnesia is connected to Everett. He would never sit back and watch Valentino regain its power. It seemed she had to investigate the whole matter thoroughly. That meant she first needed to meet the captain of the Night Order. But there was no relationship whatsoever between them. What a nuisance. The moment that thought had just arisen, she already wanted to give up. What was the point of investigating any of this anyway? Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. The person who came was unexpectedly Adeline, making a sudden visit. Because Lady Seymour was not present, Lily had to receive her in her place. On the way out to meet the guest, Charlotte suddenly spoke. "My lady, would you like me to go see the captain of the Night Order? I can tell him that you wish to meet him." Charlotte, you really are clever. She had actually even guessed that Lily wanted to look at the incident records. She had to take advantage of Seymour's absence and strike first. Adeline liked her husband. From their very first meeting, Lily had noticed it. After all, she often came and went from Valentino, and always liked to deliberately act very close to Theodore in front of Lily. Lily had always simply watched her performance in silence, and Theodore had no interest in her either. He had always only regarded Adeline as a childhood playmate. Lily could sense that his attitude toward Adeline was very cold, even to the point of annoyance. Even she, an outsider, could see it clearly. So it was impossible that Adeline did not know. Perhaps because of that, she became even more obsessed with Theodore, and this visit was probably also to confirm the recent rumors that she and Theodore had reconciled. After confirming it, what kind of expression would she show? Behind Adeline's kind and lovely mask, what kind of twisted true face was hidden? My personality really is awful too, but all of this was forced out of me by all of you. Adeline still wore a warm and friendly expression. Lily, we haven't seen each other for a long time. I'm really so happy to see you. Hello, Duchess Albini's. There's no need to be so formal, just call me Adeline. I was a little curious about how you've all been recently, so I came by especially to have a look. I heard Theodore and Lady Seymour went out together. Lily had deliberately worn the necklace when she came. It seemed she intended to pretend she knew nothing. A servant brought the tea up. The taste is different from before. Adeline spoke. This is tea from the Eastern continent. Does it suit your taste? This is the gift I brought today. It is very fine tea. Thank you. No need to be polite. Compared with wine, doesn't Theodore prefer tea more? I really want to hear his thoughts soon. I hope he likes it. She was actually flaunting their closeness in front of his wife, without the slightest concern. If it were someone with a fiercer temper, they probably would have already cursed her out directly, and in the end would instead appear petty and bad-tempered. Because Adeline would surely brim with aggrieved tears and use that reaction to make the other person seem like the villain. But Lily would not get entangled in something like that. It seems trade with the Eastern continent has been very frequent lately. That is all thanks to the Delacroix Merchant Guild. Not long ago, they opened up the shortest trade route between the two regions, and this family almost controls the business world of the entire continent. They possess astonishing wealth, but the military strength of their territory is very weak. Once a rift appears, it will cause irreparable losses. In that case, they can only rely on Valentino, which excels most at dealing with rifts. And Lily was also very familiar with the young lady of that family. That lively and enthusiastic girl always made Lily feel a little overwhelmed. His Highness the Crown Prince will be holding a hunting gathering soon. He announced that the Valentino couple would attend together. Is that true? The probing had indeed come, just as His Highness the Crown Prince said. What is it? You need to go to the main hall immediately. Lady Seymour has just returned to the residence. She is interrogating Charlotte right now. When Lily arrived, she immediately heard the questioning. You are the only one who entered the captain's room. That item could only have been stolen by you. I am only the maid who stays by my lady's side. How could I possibly be greedy enough to steal the captain's belongings? Although the scene was chaotic, Lily confirmed two things in an instant. First, Charlotte had not stolen the item. Second, aside from Lady Seymour, there were at least two other theft suspects at the scene. And at that moment, Lady Seymour actually took out a teaching rod, preparing to torture Charlotte. Lily immediately instructed a maid, "Go invite the captain here." Just as Seymour was about to lay hands on Charlotte. Lady Seymour, Lily, you came at just the right time. Your maid stole something. But she refuses to admit it, so I was just about to use punishment on her. Lily stood in front of the girl. Do you have any evidence that she stole something? She would never allow anyone to frame Charlotte again. She began to make use of her husband. In order to protect this little maid, Lily no longer concealed her dark side. Selena said that while she was cleaning the captain's room, she saw Charlotte come out from inside. Not long afterward, the captain discovered that his gold ornament was missing. So she concluded that the one who stole it was Charlotte. In other words, you are the only witness. So why couldn't it have been you who stole it? This could also be a lie you deliberately made up in order to frame Charlotte. As my maid, Charlotte receives far higher wages than you do. Who exactly would become greedy for a gold ornament? Isn't the answer obvious? That's enough, Lily. Lily cut her off directly. Did you search the servants? That is what should have been done first. Seymour said, there is no need to search them. We already have a witness. The so-called witness could also be the real culprit. Then let us begin searching the people gathered here right now. Is that really necessary? I would rather know why Charlotte entered the captain's room. I ordered her to go. Charlotte went to find the captain on my orders, yet she conveniently stole a gold ornament on the way. Doesn't that sound strange? After saying that, she forcefully ordered the search to begin. The gold ornament was quickly found. It was on the maid who had framed Charlotte. Someone beside her suddenly shouted, Selena, you stole again. The earrings Lucy lost last time were you doing too, weren't they? Enough, Isla. As if she had expected this all along. Lily stepped behind her. Even if you do this, it won't cover up your crimes. In a witch hunt, whether the witch burned to death is innocent is actually not important at all. What people need is merely someone to vent their anger on, and an opportunity to gain a dark pleasure from tormenting others. Rather than letting that vile malice pounce, Lily would rather burn it to ashes with a fire. Charlotte is the only person who matters to her, so any malice directed at Charlotte would anger her even more than malice directed at herself. Just like now, unfortunately, even if you stole the Knight Commander's gold ornaments and sold them, you still couldn't repay your lover's debt. Isla's face filled with terror. What are you talking about? Although the one who actually stole the gold ornaments was Selena, the person who truly instructed her was you. You dragged her into becoming an accomplice, and in the end you even wanted to push all the blame onto her. There are 6 people in Selena's family depending on her to support them, so that is why she accepted your proposal to steal. Seymour asked Selena whether these words were true. She burst into tears at once. Isla forced me to do it. Not long ago, my youngest brother got pneumonia. My wages were nowhere near enough to pay for the medicine. Seymour let out a sigh. She turned to look at Isla. Who is your lover? Is it that fiancé of yours? Isla's fiancé was personally chosen by Seymour because she came from the hometown of the former Duchess. Seymour had always taken good care of her. She had even personally arranged her marriage, but Isla fell in love with an opera actor and even had a child with that person. Lily learned these things only because, while she was out giving relief, she happened to overhear her talking with the doctor. What a subtle coincidence indeed. When Seymour saw Isla crying, she instead comforted her gently. What exactly happened? I won't blame you. In the end, Isla still told everything, but what awaited her was a fierce slap. What a filthy and shallow creature. Lock her back in her room. Without my order, she is not to step out of her room even once. Madam, please. Seymour shook off her hand. Don't touch me with your filthy hands. Drag her away. What a farce. I didn't expect you to know Valentino's servants so clearly. Since I am the mistress of this house, of course I must understand everyone who works for this family. Seymour turned and ordered Charlotte, put down the gold ornaments, and then leave. I will return them for you. Lily stepped forward once again. From now on, please do not touch my people again. I am warning you. If something like today happens even one more time, I absolutely will not let it go just like this. As you said, I know many things. Those words completely enraged Seymour. The crisp, resounding sound of a slap echoed through the hall. Madam, however, all of this had been within Lily's calculations from the start. A trace of ridicule flashed through her eyes. She had not expected that fact would make Seymour so furious. Wasn't this? The piece she intended to use had already arrived. Their faces were filled with shock, clearly having seen that scene just now with perfect clarity. Lily instantly changed her expression and said in a tearful, aggrieved voice, Your Grace. As expected, Theodore became angry because of her. She had deliberately taken that slap in front of her husband. Then, with tears in her eyes, she looked at him in grievance. As expected, Theodore was completely enraged. What exactly is going on? Madame Seymour immediately panicked, stammering so badly that she could not even say one complete sentence. That arrogant and overbearing manner from just now had vanished without a trace. He lifted Lily's face to inspect the injury. Your face is swollen. Something cold must be applied immediately. Aunt, why exactly did you hit Lily? Perhaps you may be shocked, but I had a reason for doing this. No matter what the reason is, you cannot lay a hand on Duchess Valentino. Even if you are an elder, you do not have that right. There will not be a next time, and you had better remember that. Lily watched all this coldly, without the slightest reaction to her husband's protection. She was only a little curious what he would do if something like this happened again. Seymour holds great power in the castle, so for now she still cannot be touched. Theodore did not listen to Seymour's explanation any further. He put an arm around Lily and turned to leave with her. Charlotte exchanged a glance with the Knight Commander, and the two of them followed. Lily turned back to look. Seymour stood there alone, looking flustered and at a loss. Lily made a face. She really brought this upon herself. Although Lily said she was fine, Theodore still insisted on taking her to see the doctor. After applying the medicine to reduce the swelling, the doctor reminded her to remember to apply a cold compress before sleeping. Madame's body cannot be given medicine casually. Other than the medicine I prescribed, no other medicine may be taken. Theodore's brows remained tightly furrowed. Lily did not understand why he was wearing that expression. After seeing the doctor, Charlotte turned around, only then realizing that the Knight Commander had not left yet, and he looked somewhat awkward. She understood immediately. Here you are, this is my gold ornament. Thank you. Lily looked at them. When he looked toward behind her, he suddenly froze, and then hurriedly said goodbye and left. Charlotte turned around, only to find that Theodore had at some point already been standing behind her. You've worked hard. Has the Duke gone mad again? Lily, you should also go back and rest first. I will take care of the remaining matters. Only then did Lily remember that Adeline was still waiting for her, that Miss Albini's is still in the reception room. I can't go over there now. Can you help me pass on my apology? The moment he heard that Adeline had come, Theodore immediately showed a "What a bother" expression. "You don't need to worry about her. Just go back and get some proper rest." The moment she entered the bedroom, Lily directly collapsed like liquid. No one was going to stop her from resting.
She learned from Charlotte that
It was actually the Knight Commander who had told her to wait for him in the room. At the time, he had urgent business and left, and he should have gone to receive Theodore, who had returned to the city. Charlotte waited for a while without seeing him come back, so she left first. So, was that why his expression had been so subtle when he rushed over? Seymour actually wanted to teach you a lesson without even having any evidence. The more I think about it now, the angrier I get. Charlotte knew that all of this had been done to stand up for her. "Madam, thank you. I'll go pick some flowers from the garden. Maybe seeing flowers will make you feel a little better." What Lily did not expect was that she had originally wanted to ask the Knight Commander to investigate Theodore's memory loss, but it seemed the other party had instead taken a liking to Charlotte. She once liked her husband's eyes very much. Even on cloudy days, they were still a vivid blue. But now, no matter how he tried to make amends, Lily no longer felt anything. She learned through the Knight Commander that, on the day Theodore lost his memory, there had been especially many monsters pouring out from the rift. Other than that, there had been no other abnormalities. After saying goodbye, he called out to Charlotte, "If possible, are you free next week?" From just now, his gaze had remained fixed on Charlotte the whole time. Whatever the girl answered, she soon returned to Lily's side. She raised her little face. "I am very busy, because I have to stay by Madam's side every moment." For Lily's sake, she rejected the Knight Commander. A few days later, because Seymour had hit her, the matter of Theodore flying into a rage over it spread throughout all of Valentino. He punished everyone involved. Compared with before, the servant's attitude toward her was practically like night and day. Seymour brushed past her. Her originally rather good mood instantly turned bad. "Madam, it was Theodore." The breeze carried flower petals and brushed past gently. "I came late. Sorry for making you wait so long." Her husband smiled at her gently, his expression full of affection. Lily was not the kind of person who would make an unreasonable scene, at least in front of outsiders. She would maintain surface decorum. "The swelling on your face has already gone down." Fortunately, it didn't leave any marks. What did he take her for? A porcelain doll? Someone capable of being this gentle to another person? And yet in the past, he had not even been willing to listen to what she said. No matter which one was the real him, Lily only found it absurd. "I changed to a carriage that is more comfortable than last time, so this time I probably won't feel unwell again." The moment Lily stepped onto the carriage, she shook off his hand. After sitting down, she smoothed out her skirt, but in the very next second, Theodore actually followed her up and sat right beside Lily. "Just in case, I should sit next to you." As soon as he finished speaking, he blushed first, because only by being a little closer to you can I protect you better. What a clumsy excuse. Charlotte looked shocked. Has the Duke gone mad again? The magician outside the carriage informed everyone that they were about to depart. As the light lit up, a violent wind suddenly rose all around them. A dazzling white flash passed by, and the scenery outside changed instantly. They had already arrived in a lush forest. From the moment they entered the palace, people all around had already been whispering. Theodore stayed by her side the whole time. Now the rumor that they had reconciled was completely confirmed. The crown prince stood among the crowd. "I'm very curious who will win this time, but it definitely won't be me." He quickly noticed them. "Oh my, who is this?" "Duke Valentino and the Duchess. Seeing you standing side by side truly gives me great comfort. Compared to the last time I saw your grace, your complexion seems even worse today. Please take care of your health." The last time they met was still in winter, when the crown prince had specially gone to Valentino to hunt white foxes for the crown princess. The crown prince went to Valentino to hunt white foxes for the crown princess. Unfortunately, he did not catch a single one. It was Theodore who hunted 6 and gave him 3. After meeting the crown princess, Theodore suddenly called out to her, "Lily, I have something to give you. I infused it with my own spirit power. When you are in danger, it can protect you." The crown prince wore an expression of watching a show, and whispers also began to spread around them. It seems the rumors are true. His Grace, the Duke, really cherishes his wife. Lily suddenly turned her head to look over, and the speaker immediately shut their mouth. Becoming the subject of others' gossip was truly unpleasant. Among these people, there were surely some who had even bet on her marriage. What could be more vile than using someone else's misfortune as a wager? Suddenly, the surroundings grew noisy. She looked in the direction of the sound. It was actually Hazen and Owen. Lily's heartbeat suddenly quickened. Why would they appear here? Why would they be here? The two brothers were also looking at her at the same time. He liked his own sister. Even though she was already married, that did not matter. After all, they would be divorced soon enough. So when Hazen saw Lily, his gaze was completely undisguised. If not for Theodore, he would have already taken Lily away last time. Of course, more than one person stood in his way. There was also that older brother who possessed 2 kinds of spirit power. "I heard you met Lily and Theodore, so it reached your ears this quickly. You should call me brother, Hazen." "Damn, brother." Owen paid no mind to his younger brother's offense. "Tell me about their situation." At that point, Hazen finally realized that Theodore at the time had been very strange. "Oh, and didn't he seem like a completely different person? For example, amnesia? Or something else?" That's right, his behavior really did seem as if he had lost his memory. "Wait. How would you know that? To be honest, brother, did you do something? But the other party only smiled. Damn it. One day he would make this guy kneel before him. Hazen, you must understand, no matter what I did, it was for Everett. The door had only just closed when they heard Hazen inside smashing things as if venting his anger. His face was full of hostility. Do you think I can't find out what you did? This was a small episode after Hazen and Lily's last encounter. And now they had met again. Theodore was filled from head to toe with wariness toward them. Hazen's gaze was unrestrained. He had been staring at her ever since just now. Lily turned her face away and stopped looking at him. Besides Hazen's gaze, she also felt another line of sight. In the distance stood a man wearing a cloak. The moment their eyes met, she felt a chill run through her. Those were not eyes a normal human would have. My lady, that is the magician young Master Owen took in. The time Owen took him in happened to coincide exactly with the time Theodore suffered his head injury. This gave her a bad feeling. Hello, Lily. Owen stepped forward. And Duke Valentino, have you been well lately? Thanks to you, we have been very well. It seems my gift suits your taste very well. Lily looked at him in confusion. Theodore lowered his head and whispered in her ear, after the hunting event is over, I'll tell you. A young lady ran past behind them. Sister, I'm here. She turned to the other side again, calling out, brother, come quickly. It was a man with blonde hair like hers. These were members of the Delacroix family. As the prizes were displayed, the crown prince excitedly announced the official start of the hunt. Hazen still kept looking at Lily. Lily avoided his gaze. After she mounted her horse, Theodore came over again. He repeatedly reminded her, with knights protecting you, there probably won't be any problem, but you still must be extra careful. Absolutely do not take off the brooch I gave you. I will. Seeing Lily agree, Theodore smiled. She loosened her hand before parting. He still looked at her with lingering reluctance, but Lily ignored him. She looked ahead. Just in time, she met Adeline's gaze, and the other woman was smiling brightly. Lily, come quickly. Who do you think will win today? I'm betting Theodore will win. Such a little trick was not enough for her to care about. Of course, I'm also betting my husband will win. The way Adeline looked at her finally changed. The young lady of the Delacroix family suddenly appeared. Adeline, your question is very strange. Of course, the Duchess of Valentino would support her husband. Lily began to like this young lady, who was not very good at reading the room. In front of everyone, she awakened the purest spirit power. In only an instant, she slew all the monsters. The deeper they went into the forest, the more bugs there became. That was why she hated this kind of place. The queen took out a bottle of potion. This can drive away most insects. The current queen, Aylmer, looked very kind, but in fact she was an extremely terrifying person. The king, who had once loved her dearly, began indulging in women after her father died. She killed more than a dozen mistresses in cruel ways. She was very tolerant toward the weak who needed protection, but exceptionally cruel toward those with ill intentions. And she was especially wary of people like Adeline. Duchess, your complexion does not look very good. Are you feeling all right? I'm fine. Thank you for your concern. Lily suddenly felt a strange sensation. The crown princess was somewhat puzzled. We've already come this far, and yet we haven't even seen a single rabbit. Could it be that no one else had noticed? All of a sudden, a chill ran down her back. Her horse was startled as well and let out a neigh. After calming the horse down, that ominous premonition became even stronger. Adeline came up behind her. What's wrong? Could it be that riding is very tiring for you? Lily paid no attention to her and shouted loudly, Your Majesty the Queen, please stop. A rift appeared ahead. Lily, how did you know a rift would appear there? I sensed a distortion in space. How is that possible? Isn't that something only those who have contracted with spirits can perceive? The ground began to shake violently, accompanied by the sound of cracking. A giant hand tore open the rift and reached out. Crimson eyes then appeared. Immediately after, countless monsters poured out from within. The knights immediately moved to stand in front. They shouted for everyone to take position. Lily knew very well that when facing magical beasts emerging from a rift, only those with spirit power could fight against them. The monsters began slaughtering humans without restraint. Quick, fire the distress signal. This signal flare is defective. The voice stopped abruptly. Adeline stepped forward. Everyone, quickly get behind me. I'm going to use magic. But only spirit power could truly kill monsters. Magic could at most repel weaker ones. To close the rift, one had to rely on the power of spirits. That was why it was stipulated that each territory must have at least one spirit contractor. The Albini's family, which possessed the bloodline of magicians, could not produce contractors. Miss Albini's, can you really repel the monsters? Adeline did not answer. She closed her eyes and activated her magic power. A red glow lit up around her. It gathered into the shape of arrows and shot toward the monsters. However, that strike caused no damage at all, and instead completely enraged the monsters. It let out an angry roar. The concentration of magic power is too low. The enraged monster charged toward the queen. Lily rushed out and stood in front. Spirit power burst forth from the brooch. This was Theodore's power. The pure spirit power blocked the monster, but this state could not last for long. The reinforcements had to arrive before the power ran out. She felt that strange aura again. It was not hostility. Instead, It seemed to be trying to help her. Could it be the spirits in Ashley Forest? Since ancient times, spirits had been born within all things in nature. But spirits do not use human language to communicate. They use the language of nature. And without spirit perception, she ordinarily should not have been able to communicate with them. But in the next moment, an ethereal voice sounded by her ear. Do you need help? Although she still did not know exactly what was happening, Theodore's flames had already begun to weaken. They had no time left. Please, lend me your strength. Countless huge wooden spikes instantly burst out of the ground, piercing all the magical beasts.